It's the first battle of the month. It's North versus South, but which one is going to win? Check out the review to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we've got a face-off and it's the North versus the South. Now, I am a southerner, but I live in the North. These two beers are from Overtone. Now, Overtone are they are based in the North. They are a Scottish brewery, based up in Glasgow, I think they are. And let's just check that before I start going off about on one. I'm sure they're from, yeah, they're definitely from Glasgow. From Glasgow, great city. If anyone's ever been, great place to go out and have a beer. So these cans look quite similar, but you can see one of them's got slightly gold on it, and one's got this blue sort of pattern on it. Now, I'm cheating a little bit because we talk about North versus South, but what it is these are both New England IPAs, but this one's a Northern Hemisphere and this one's a Southern Hemisphere. So it's basically global North versus South. The Northern Hemisphere one comes in at 6%, and in terms of what it's got a New England IPA, uses Mosaic, Simcoe and Equinox. And it's got a malt bill including oats and white wheat. Result is a big creamy IPA with notes of tropical fruit and citrus. So Mosaic, Simcoe and Equinox, that's the northern one. The Southern Hemisphere uses hops from the Southern Hemisphere, obviously, bursting with tropical fruits and citrus. Galaxy, Citra, Topaz. I've not really heard much of it. Don't usually see Topaz that much. And Nelson Sauvin. So things like Galaxy and Nelson Sauvin. Nelson Sauvin, I think, is New Zealand. Galaxy is Australian. And obviously the other hops, the hops in the northern one, Mosaic, Simcoe, and Equinox. I think a lot of those are North American. So I wonder what the difference is. I love New England IPAs. Overtone, they're new to us, new to the channel, but they've got lots of different varieties. They do so many different New England IPAs, but I just thought it'd be a bit interesting doing North versus South. So let's get these beers out of the can and into these lovely looking glasses. So first things first, let's get the northern one out. Okay, I'm going to put them there just so you can just see the colours of it. In fact, I'm going to put that just at the front. So that's the northern one. Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting. I'm expecting, whether these are going to actually look different. Obviously, they're both New England IPAs. To me, they're similar. But I would say that this one looks a bit more, it's a bit more custardy, it looks a bit more creamier. This one looks, it's still yellow and very sort of hazy, but not quite as custardy. It doesn't have that sort of, this one's got a little bit more sort of orange to it, tinge to it, you can see that. Both 1 fingers of head. Let's get some aromas. First one, the North. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more sort of citrus forward. You're getting more lemons and limes, pineapple, maybe a bit of grape and melon and that sort of thing in that one. Let's get the aromas of the Southern one. Yeah, it's just a little bit more pungent in terms of the aromas with this one. A lot more pineapple, mango in this. Yeah, I mean, in terms of aromas, I definitely prefer the Southern to the Northern. Okay, let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. A lovely soft mouthfeel. Bit of pineapple, citrus, lemon and lime, a little bit of grapefruit on the back end. A little bit more tart and sharp, that one. Okay, let's try the Southern Hemisphere. A little bit softer. The flavours are similar in terms of there's that sort of pineapple mango, but there's there's less citrus and tartness. I'm going to put that over there so you can actually see my face. Going in again. It just tastes a little bit more fuller in the body, a little bit smoother. And I didn't see the alcohol. This one, so the Southern one's 6.6%. And it does taste a little bit stronger, you know. It's not much, you know. It's only, what, 6.6%. But there's definitely a bit more of a warmth in the flavour. Really nice. Yeah, I mean, overall, they are, I mean, they're both New England IPAs. They're very similar. You know, if I wasn't drinking them together, like I am now, you'd find it quite difficult to sort of, you know, to tell the difference. But there is a subtle difference, even though we've got lots of different hops. This one is a little bit more fuller, a bit more fruity, a bit more mango pineapple. It's all a bit more fruitier, a bit more, and certainly more tropical in terms of the fruits, which from the Southern Hemisphere you'd expect. The weather's generally, you know, it's hotter, it's generally more tropical generally than the Northern Hemisphere. This one doesn't taste as full-bodied. It's a little bit more zestier, it's a little bit more, there's more citrus in the mix. I'm picking up a bit more grapefruit there in the back end, where this one, the grapefruit is a little bit more subtle. Very similar though, very similar. I think I still prefer the Southern Hemisphere one, just because that body is a little bit more softer and smoother. And with this one, I think the way that the hops are, you're getting a little bit more of that sort of, I don't call it harsh, but it's a little bit more sort of a cutting zestiness that really sort of cuts into the palate. I think, you know, obviously some people may prefer that. But as I said, if you're tasting them sort of on their own, you know, you'd think they're a bit similar. I mean, this one, the head is pretty much gone down a little bit. And this one, it's still, you know, it's got a head. It definitely feels a bit lighter. It's lighter in the mouth, and it's lighter in it. You know, you can tell just from the looks of it. It's just that slightly bit lighter than this one. But the flavours are similar. They're still those tropical sort of flavours. Yeah, I mean, I think though, what I'm feeling, I'm getting a bit more melony grape in this one, a more lemon citrus, with a cutting of grapefruit. With this one, it's very much mango and pineapple. There's less of that sort of fruity bitterness on the back end, but it's a little bit more warmer as well in the mouth. It's a little smoother. It's sort of, the carbonation on this one is a bit lower than this one. I'm not sure why that is in terms of the way that hops are. I mean, obviously, you know, you've got, I think in terms of, yeah, I mean, in terms of the malts, this one has got white wheat in it, the Southern Hemisphere, and I think that gives it that little bit more creamier sort of flavour. I'm going to make sure I'm confusing myself now. Yeah, that's the Northern, that's the Southern. Yeah, no, yeah, the Southern one's got a white wheat in it. And this one doesn't have, although in the description it says it's got white wheat, but in terms of the actual, when it actually's got the list of, it doesn't say white wheat, so that's interesting. Definitely a fuller body. This one's more citrusy. Let's get some scores. This one's going to be a tight match, but we'll get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Overtone Northern Hemisphere New England IPA and Southern Hemisphere New England IPA. This one comes in at 6% and this one comes in at 6.6%. So, aroma. Well, to be honest, both of them are very similar aromas. I mean, I would say the Northern Hemisphere is a little bit more bigger in the pineapple and the Southern Hemisphere is a bit more bigger in the mango. But they are both really nice, fragrant, very sort of tropical really in terms of their aroma. So I'm giving them both 14 out of 20. appearance, well, I mean, as much as I think that this one, the Southern Hemisphere, has got a slight more orangeness to it, but in terms of appearance, they look pretty similar, really. And I don't think there's much you could really change the points on that. So I'm giving them both 8 out of 10 for appearance. Flavour-wise, these are both really good New England IPAs. Certainly, if I'd had either of these, you know, I would have said, yep, that's great. And that one, I would have said, yep, great. I don't think there's a huge amount of difference in terms of overall flavour. But I'm going to give the Southern Hemisphere 35 and the Northern Hemisphere 34. The Southern one just gets an extra point because it's just a little bit more creamier in terms of its mouthfeel. And although the flavours are there, they're not as harsh. They're not as sort of zest. You know, they don't sort of cut as much. You know, it just tastes much smoother, much creamier and smoother. So on that basis, I'm giving that one 35 and this one 34. Value for money, they both cost about £4, so I think that's pretty good value. 8 out of 10, both of them. And then overall experience, well, again, I'm giving the Northern Hemisphere one. It's a great New England IPA. It tastes really nice. Big on the pineapple, bit of mango, bit of grapefruit, citrus as well in there. I'm giving it 13 out of 20. Southern Hemisphere, mango, just a little bit more creamy and smoother. Mango is really nice, but there's pineapple in there as well. There's less of that sort of, there's a bit more warmth, but a bit less of the sort of grapefruity sort of citrus sort of bitterness on the back end on that one. So I actually prefer that one. I could drink more of that one. So I'm giving that one 15. So 13 and 15. So we top those scores up, and the Northern Hemisphere gets a very good, recommended 77 out of 100. It's a White Snake beer. You've got to slide it in slow and easy, this one. A great New England IPA, really good. However, the Southern one just about pips it. 80 out of 100. So that's just getting into the Iron Maiden, the heaviest and heavy metal. It's just the big issue, the big improvement on this one over the other one is that it's just a little bit more creamier, and the mouthfeel is just that little bit more better. Both great beers. I've got to now drink both of these now, which is great. It's Friday night, so why not? So 80, 77, really good beers. This is the first of the face-off. They're a bit different, you know. I mean, Overtone, check them out if you see them, because, you know, I think that they're the brewery to watch out for in 2021. They make some really good beers, and they make lots of different varieties. So, you know, could they be the Scottish version of Polly's? You know, we've got Polly's in Wales, we've got Overtone in Scotland, and we've got the likes of Verdant and Daya in England. That's pretty good, you know, but which is the big one? There's lots of breweries, I think, that are coming up, and this one is one to watch out for. Nice looking cans, lovely little swirly pattern. Yeah, I mean, it's quite plain, but I do like the fact that it's got very good descriptions on the cans. Overtone, give them a try. If you like New England IPAs, they do lots of different ones. So, until the next one, you know what you got to do? You got to keep on rocking.